Yo, so welcome back to the lunch table, everybody. Food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. Hit that subscribe button at the bottom left-hand corner, and also hit that bell so you can get all our notifications, man. Shout out to my guy, Dan Boy. Hooked me up with my next guest. Let me just go over his bio really quick because there's not too much about this guy. Billboard Hot 100 producer. He's produced the song Drug Addicts by Lil Pump. He's also produced for Future, Lil Xan, Young Tory, Baby Goth, Timbaland.
Yep.
And that's the one, that's the one that really shocks me. You know, excuse me for being like 26 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shit, me too.
Yo, shout out North Carolina, Raleigh in the building, man.
Raleigh.
Baby Winsch, what's poppin', bro?
919. What up, man? Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you, man. This is also your first podcast, bro.
Yep.
How you feeling about it?
Good. Shit, good to be in LA, hot weather.
You know, smoke some indica right before this.
Every day.
Actually took a hit of that shit too. Like, it is hitting right now, just a little bit.
Yeah,
man.
he said it's hitting.
You know
right
what I mean?
now.
Like, indica just gets me a little bit more like chilled out.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes me a little too sleepy, so I'll go with the sativa. But yeah, indica's my thing right now.
Do you smoke every day?
Yeah. Shit, wake up, go to sleep. It's the medicine. It definitely it's the chill for me. I have ever since a kid. You know, they say I got ADHD. Whatever the doctors are calling it this day, right? So I've always been tapping my whole life and, you know, table drumming, shit like that. But weed definitely will chill me out sometimes. So I'm sure people can relate. But
I used to dance so much in high school, and weed was kind of like that thing that it was kind of like the stress reliever from, I guess, stage fright. You could say. Yeah,
for some people. Well, at first when I started smoking, it was actually really nerve-wracking. Funny story, like right before school, must have been like freshman, sophomore year, hit the bong like 1 or 2 times and just tweaked out. It might have been some like lace weed or something weird, I don't know, but definitely had a weird experience. Didn't even want to smoke again after that. And then, you know, I had another chill vibe, smoked, and it was over from there. But you know,
bro. Some
people are like, oh man, I'm done after that. But I think, you know, you have that one high where you're just tweaking, you know, and it's new for you. So you're like, what the hell? But
well, you know, I think for me, like, taking that one hit from a bong, like for me, I was just like, yo, I'm never hitting a bong again. You know what I mean? I kind of just want to like relax when I smoke my weed, like, you know what I mean? Like just chill on the couch, have a casual conversation and whatnot.
Facts.
Do you, when you produce, do you smoke before you produce?
Yeah, most of the time, but sometimes I've noticed in the morning, like I'll get up and do my thing, just shower, you know, maybe even work out a little bit, and then do beats for a few hours before I even smoke. That's sometimes, but sometimes I do smoke before I go in, but it really depends on the vibe for sure. Like in the morning, like I said, if I want to just take advantage of that just woken up feeling, I'll go in the morning.
Now, is that like a regular routine for you? You just wake up and then immediately start cracking out some beats?
I try. You know, what's funny is it really depends on like how my place is looking at the time. Like if it's dirty, if it's like really dirty, I'm like, I don't want to. But I know sometimes I'll be like, it's too dirty, I'm just gonna make beats. But for me, I'm a little picky about the space, so when I wake up, is it clean? I know that sounds funny, but like if it's clean, then I can work, because it's just, for me, it's just a little distracting if the shit's dirty, you know, so I don't know, that's major me, but every day, I don't really have a certain like schedule. I just go right off if I'm feeling it. I could see like a YouTube video, you know, and just be like, oh shit, I kind of want to make something like that, or an IG post, you know, and just want to jump right in, but no set routine.
Really, you kind of just get inspired by whatever.
Yeah,
like you find.
I could go like 3 or 4 days without making beats. I feel great, and then come back with like fucking 10 more ideas. You know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, I don't want to say that, but that 10,000 hour rule, I do for the most part believe in that. I think that's like that just causes you to, or allows you to, just, you know, I'm not going to dive all the way into that, but just as far as like the aspects of producing, like the 10,000 hour rule is more than you think, you know, so I feel like I've spent 10,000 hours thinking and trying shit. I don't want to say I've done it like 10,000 hours of making it hit beats, you know, but it took me that long to figure out the routine of like when to create and when not to, you know.
I get you. Well, I mean, you get more of a sense of yourself once you've put in like that 10,000 hours of actually being on a keyboard, or, you know, just like thinking about like whatever your next move is.
Right.
And so what tends to happen is that the more and more you do it, the easier the routine gets, and the easier, like, you know, you're able to like navigate through the program. You even said you used Logic, so it's like you can navigate through Logic, but then you needed to put like X amount of hours just to like be able to navigate
and
through it like fluidly.
I still learn stuff about Logic every time I work on it, either just from YouTube or just trying out different things. I'll learn something new every day from from the program, which is crazy. Which I always think like, I wonder how it would be if I sat back and actually like read a textbook about it. I just know that that's definitely not the way I've done it as a kid. I just love the trial and error version. I feel like that's just more fun when you get that kind of like eureka moment of like, oh, this is how you do it, and you kind of come up with your own sauce that way.
So I'm assuming that you learned production kind of just by trial and error. You were just learning everything on your own.
Definitely from homies and just other producers for sure. Like, of course, just YouTube videos. Just asking questions like bigger producers. How do you do this? How do you do that? In sessions, because most of the time, even when younger ones ask me now, like I want to show you, if you ask the right way, so it's really like, that's what I owe it to, is just being curious and asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, curiosity is gonna get you all the answers in the world, bro.
Yeah, and you just gotta ask sometimes,
So then going back to curiosity, like when did you start producing?
Probably, I want to say freshman year or sophomore year, like in between that. Must have been like the summer.
Okay.
I had a homie Dominic. He's one of my best friends growing up.
And this was all over in NC?
Yeah, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
And we were just freestyling. This was the first time we started getting hot too. It was the first time I was smoking weed. So you know how that is, just classic freestyling.
Yeah.
Like, I was rapping too. I could feel it. And he was like, bro, let's try to freestyle. So we started freestyling. And then from there, I think I met my homie Romeo right after that.
Okay.
And he had a little studio set up. And this was, again, still sophomore year, I think. Yeah, sophomore year. He went to a different school, but we just linked up every day we could after school and shit. But what started me making beats was it was like right at the time where internet beats were already flying,
The type beats?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so that's what we were rapping on, of course, and just. But I had GarageBand, so he was like, dude, we got to figure out just how to make our own beats. And I was like, all right. And it just felt like it was that time for me because I had the laptop at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, all right, this is how I could fit in. Figure out how to actually like put the sounds together for us.
So you're like the only guy with the laptop. Everybody technically needed to go to you.
I mean, my boys was a hustler though. Like, shout out Romeo. He's a hustler. Like he always had it, but that was just where in that time, that was like, which was only like 5-6 years ago. I'm 23 now, but that was like sophomore year. Just fucking around on Logic. But before then, right before I met him, which is what really, helped me take it serious, I was doing GarageBand loops. So like I was on GarageBand, just really knew how to go left to right. Because I was recording my homie Dom, the one I mentioned earlier, and we were just doing freestyles. So going left to right on GarageBand was all I knew, And then after that, upgraded to Logic, and then from there started fucking with like the midis. And so I really worked from like only knowing left to right to actually being like, oh wait, this is like a drum sound. Like, it's really amateur sounding, but like when I was a kid, like super young, I didn't even know it was drums because I was born in the point where it was like 50 Cent was hot. Of course Jay-Z, like still classic sounding shit, but like what stuck out to me was, for example, 50 Cent In the Club. You remember that record, right? Like that shit was hard, and like that bounce to me was just. I remember the vision in my face in like the back of my parents' car, just kind of like seeing New York City because I grew up in New York. I forgot to mention that, but just hearing the radio all the time, 50 Cent. I was like, what the hell is this? These sounds, like these are dope, And I was always tapping all the time, so I didn't really put two and two together. But looking back, the curiosity was always there.
Yeah.
And I definitely grew up off of the club sound, like trap, boom, a little bit slower, not so much hip hop-ish. Like what's crazy is I don't really know many Biggie songs or Tupac. Like I never really sat and studied people like that. Yeah, like for me,
even growing up in New York, and you know too many Biggie songs. Yeah, that's crazy.
I was super like the radio at the time. I was just when I was in New York, it was very like that was the years of how do I say this? Like it was just everything comes to you, right? At that age, so. It was just the radio, like what my parents were listening to, and it was really like what I can remember was Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, like Z100.
Yeah, man, all the classics.
Yeah, like Z100, like that's just what it was. So I really got into rap, like actual like rapping. I want to say probably because of my brother. When I was going into like middle school and high school, my brother Chris always made CDs in the car before iPhones could connect to the car.
He was bootlegging everything, huh?
Yeah, so he was getting like the rapper Logic. I remember hearing that song Ballin' off like his first mixtape, and I was like, this dude is raw, and I thought it was a black dude. I was like, damn, this shit's hard. Like I'm talking about, right? Logic.
Yeah, no, and, for sure.
I was like, damn, I used to I was like a little nervous. I always asked my brother because it was at the point where, you know, he was like a little bit older than me, cooler, you know, type thing. And we'll get into my name in a second. That's where I get the name from, was my older
your
brother.
too?
Yeah, but he was always burning them CDs in the car just to go to school because we'd always just listen to you know, God bless my mom. We had a car to go to school in high school, so he used to take me. But we had like 20 songs on that shit, and all slappers, like all different people my brother was just listening to. Yeah,
there
so
you go.
there was just, you know, I'd fuck with certain songs in each track. I didn't know who they were, but you know, eventually we got closer, and I was like, oh, what's this and that, and found out about Logic. And then I don't know exactly when I heard J. Cole first, but I would say J. Cole's kind of like the Tupac of my
Well, I mean, he's also
generation.
from NC, bro.
Yeah, so but it wasn't even. I don't know if I started listening to him. No, I definitely started listening to him after I moved to North Carolina, which was like in 6th grade when my family moved there. So anyway, J. Cole's definitely like that was like my guy at the time. I was like, damn, this dude's like, the songs are hitting. He's making his own beats, and I remember looking up and saying like, damn, this dude's making these beats. Like, this is crazy. You know, this is all new for me. And then after realizing Logic is white or half white or whatever, you know, I'm like, oh shit, this is.
He's like, I can do this shit too.
Yeah, this is fucking dope. So we're.
Well, I mean, even J. Cole's half white.
Yeah,
half German.
Right. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like, damn, that's crazy. I think, like, his family had moved, or someone, his dad maybe or something. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of, like, where I get my background from.
Yeah.
A lot of just everything
I
around
mean, me. To this day, like, I feel like those two are definitely going to be, like, the hip-hop legends, like, you know, when you look, like, 40, 50 years from now, because J. Cole is just really J. Cole.
Dude,
and, you know, Logic's captivated. He's carved himself, like, on that Mount Olympus.
Yeah, I don't really know. I can't really speak on him right now because I haven't been following it all, but... Well, actually, like, just the last few days, I've been looking up his mixtape. It's called Welcome to Forever. It was like I think like his 3rd mixtape he put out in Maryland, right? I don't know, but I found that song from my brother. It was the one song on his mixtape, and he was like, you know, it was like right when it was like Dat Piff. What's the other websites? You know, like where you can only get the music from.
Yeah, Dat Piff really had all the mixtapes, bro.
Yeah, so like that was you can only get that type of music from there. It wasn't SoundCloud. It wasn't, you know. I remember when I started making beats, it was like right. I think when SoundCloud was coming out, so it was,
damn,
which is
bro.
cool.
That's
like
great.
cool
I think what was on before? I think it was like SoundClick.
Yeah, well, that was for beats, right? Or maybe songs too.
Yeah,
like
I think
Bandcamp.
SoundClick. There was Bandcamp too. I mean, Bandcamp's still around.
But yeah, I remember like his like flow was so raw. Like I want to say, and I'm kind of just realizing it now. Like he's definitely a major part of why I wanted to get into like putting what I'm feeling into something, you know, like Logic, because his like style was so crazy, and the way he was like bouncing off the beat, like not even just what he was saying was crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean he's one of the few rappers who can actually rap fast, and you'll be able to articulate him like with every single word.
Like maybe it's because he's from Maryland, but anyway, that was like I'm just kind of realizing that was definitely what gave me that like, ooh, this is ill.
Well, you know, shout out to Logic and Cole, man, two of the greatest right now. So then, how did the name Baby Winsch come about? You said it came from your brother.
Yeah, so my brother's name's Chris Winsch. He his friends used to call him just Winsch. You know, they'd be like, yo, Winsch. My friends do too now, but when I was around him, it was always, oh, Baby Winsch, baby, you know, like as a joke type of thing. Oh, that's Baby Winsch, you know, like I must have been like 12 or it was definitely like middle school, I think, but yeah, and then I just realized when I started making beats, I was like, I don't know what. I think I made it my Twitter name at the time, or so I was like, yo, Baby Winsch, and then it was just unique. And at the time, I realized, you know, it's unique. When I search it, nothing else really comes up. Yeah. You know, so I kept it.
So you're like, bro, I gotta keep that forever.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it kind of feels funny coming off the tongue. It's like, yo, Baby Winsch. Winsch is like, just that W is a little funny, but to me, it's dope. You can find me most places, you know.
Well, I think some names are very smooth, but then yours is like.
It's a little weird.
It's like it's a little rough.
Hard to say. Yeah,
but then
like
you know what I mean.
Winsch,
like it's more standout-ish that way.
Yeah, it's definitely weird, but I just feel like, you know, I want to say unfortunately, but just not unfortunately. Take that back. But with the state of where music is right now, and just the world in general, like it's all about what's really going on when you look inside or when you hear somebody. You know, so like. Yeah, Baby Winsch. You know, I've had some second thoughts about the name, but what I'm doing, I think, speaks more. You know, just who I'm going to be working with, what's coming out in the next few years and stuff like that.
And you also got your credits down, bro.
Yeah, I might. Yeah, right. I might change it up at some point, but I don't know. Baby, my tag is killer, so everyone loves the tag.
Yeah, dude, because then when I re-listened to Drug Addicts today, I was like, baby. And
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
tag.
shit, like, that's a really dope tag.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
Who made the tag? Is that you?
My homie Cheech.
Shout out to Cheech, man.
His name's Cheech, kind of like from Cheech and Chong, but totally different guy. I want to tell this story because it's really funny.
Let's get it, bro.
This was in Raleigh. I was staying with Romeo, and I guess it's safe to talk about this now because it was like so long ago. Anyway, we were staying at we're staying at his crib in North Raleigh.
Okay.
Wakefield, I think, or Wake Forest. I forget exactly where, but we lived right down the street from another apartment complex. It was like pretty wealthy, and we met this dude who was a pimp. He was real cool, like real sweet guy. You know, I really
a pimp named Slickback.
Yeah, Cheech. I really fucked with like just his energy. I forget who met him first. Might have been my boy John, but we he just, you know, I think Romeo had met him first. They kicked it off, whatever. He came to Romeo's little makeshift studio, and he was just lit. Cheech was just always had like that really hype. I always compared him kind of to like Thug. You know, he didn't sound like Thug, but his energy was just like, whoa, what the hell? Like, and he barely recorded before, so we were just letting him go off on the little beats I was making. This was only like a year or two into me producing, maybe a year. So they were kind of cliche. They're definitely cool, but and he was just freestyling and hit the Baby Winsch, and then I just cut that out, and I was like, dude, that's hype, and like put some effect on it. It just goes, baby. You know, so shout out to Cheech. He's hard, bro. He's hard. Like,
Cheech a rapper too? Or?
Yeah, like, well, he is, but it's like one of those things where he just got that natural energy. Like,
yeah.
We brought him in 1 or 2 times, and he was just lit. Like, and you know, I can't wait to when I get my shit right, I'm gonna be, you know, putting some people here and here. I'm definitely gonna get him out here for a little bit. He's still, I think he's in South Carolina, but that's my boy. He definitely has that. And I know there's a reason why that happened, you know, because like the tag, I'm still using it. That has to have been for like 4 or 5 years ago.
Damn,
and everyone's
bro,
like, who
crazy.
Is that? What is that?
Yeah,
you know, so like one day I'm going to do like a tape with him or something.
You know, shout out to Cheech, man. We need a tape from you, Cheech.
Yeah, I know he's just like doing his thing. I think he's on daddy duty or something in South Carolina, but he's the man. So we're going to get it in at some point.
Well, so Winsch, like, how do you get inside the room for producing for people like Lil Pump? Because Drug Addicts is probably the biggest song that you've produced today, right?
Yeah, definitely. That was like the one with the most numbers. Well, that was definitely like learned a lot. That period of time was only a year ago, last year July. But we did the beat, I want to say even like half a year before that, or maybe even a year.
Damn,
I can't remember exactly, but it was like October of 2000. It might be October of 2017. It might have been. I really can't remember because this was like when we were doing so many beats, you know, like
that's nuts.
5 to 10 a day. I was on some like health binge for a while. Long story short, I was out in LA for a year because of my brother. Again, long story short, but we could probably get into it. But my brother was out. He's already out here. He's living in an apartment with some roommates. Shout out my boy Sangsta. We're going to talk about him too. But we came out here together. I had like $300. I think he had a couple hundred, but my brother was here, and you know, bless my brother, he let me stay there a few weeks. Of course, he was already like, man, you know, LA, there's like no room. We didn't know what was up, so we just came out here, stayed with him. We're staying on the floor for a little while. Yeah, it was straight though. You know, it's family, so it was cool. But you know, it was definitely like how my family is like you definitely can't be comfortable. You know, in America, so it's definitely not like chill. Like we were out every day. Connecting with people. Shout out my boy Mo Easy. He was like the first one who blue check, you know, hit me up on Twitter. He had a blue check, so I was like, oh shit. He ended up being really cool when I was still in North Carolina. But anyway, that's kind of like the reason we came out. I was like, man, I got a little connect. When I'm losing my train of thought. But so we're at my brother's house. How Drug Addicts came together, and I'm losing it. But so Drug Addicts with Pump. I was already out here. After a few weeks, I ran back to North Carolina and linked with my boy D Money.
Okay.
D Money's a producer, platinum, really dope guy. He's like 26, I think, killing it in North Carolina. He's been killing it for years. He got crazy records like with Migos, everything, Gucci. Like he's dope. He's definitely like one of North Carolina's like trap producers, but he does everything. But at the time, he was definitely like the biggest to me in Raleigh. So I was, you know, tweeting. We're trying to get up. Eventually, started getting closer to him. We became homies. A year later, when I visited back to Raleigh, I think I called him over to Romeo's house, so I visited Romeo. You know, he had upgraded the crib a little bit, you know.
Okay.
So he had a bigger spot. So he came back, he let me stay there, but he was like, he's always been on some, like, he's definitely like one of those bros to me who pushes, and like, if you're around him, like, he's going to push you.
He's a motivator.
You know, which can get annoying, but like, I love him for that.
Yeah.
And like, he really pushed me to do things I didn't like think I need to do, but I need to do. You know what I'm saying? So when I was back in Raleigh, he was like just helping me get on my health shit, running, just everything, get on a good schedule, you know, because I was like, dude, just running around out here. So anyway, I called D Money. I was like, yo, come through. And what's funny is this is when I was finally figuring out how to collab. I know that sounds funny, but I've been making beats so long, I didn't know, like, all right, how do I collab with somebody? It's so funny to think about, right? But this is only 2 years ago,
How do you
right?
collab with
I know,
somebody?
no,
All you gotta do is hit somebody
no, but
up,
like,
bro.
look, so I'm always picking loops, and I never, I'll be honest, I never came from a musical background. So I'm always I get so inspired by someone who's a loop maker, someone who can just really kill it in the keys. Most of the time I was doing shit like that. So just lately started actually composing music. But anyway, with D Money, I hit him up and I was like, dude, I put some loops together on my own, like composed some one shots and put like, which is actually what I did with the Drug Addicts one. It was like, dun, dun. So I cut up some little one shot and then drew that together and like sound pitched it down and did some cool shit that made it go up and down. I hit him up. I gave him like five or six loops, and he did on a Bluetooth speaker. He just cooked it up right there, boom, boom, in the house. Yeah, we're sitting there with Romeo's dog, like we're all just chilling, smoking. But again, we're knocking out like 5 to 10 beats that day, so I don't know what's hitting or like what's hot. I was kind of just giving shit to him. I think I thought it was a Pump type sound. I was like, oh, this is definitely like that genre that, to be honest with you, I wasn't really fond of. I was still fucking with that like drill, J. Cole Logic type rap.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but so the Pump and you know, sound like that to me was new, and I was honestly kind of hating on it because remember when J. Cole and Pump had that beef where like he was like, oh fuck Cole, like all this shit.
And then they had like that whole interview where they kind of just like squashed everything.
Yeah. So
it's crazy because it sounds to me that
so actually, again, long story short, I'm not gonna dive into it, but I got an opportunity to DJ for Pump. Someone booked him in Raleigh, like right when he was blowing up. He must have had like 60K followers on Twitter or something. And someone booked him at a club. He didn't even show up, I heard. Like, missed the flights and shit. Zanned out. So, anyway, they asked me to DJ. I think I said no. I'm pretty sure I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Because at the time, there was so much online beef between Pump and Cole. And I was just like, what am I to just go and do this real quick? When, like, I honestly really fucked with Cole's music. Like, the shit was helping me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. At the time, I was just like, I don't want to get into that DJing shit. And it was just right time, right place.
It's kind of interesting because I think people would normally like just grab that, but then you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I think you were kind of like testing your morality.
Yeah, and like maybe I'll be honest. At the time, I just maybe been a tad lazy about DJing and like just the situations. I don't know. I'm really picky. So anyway, even my boys were like, "What the hell? Like, why are they booking Pump and like shit like that?" But I knew it was just it might have been a good move at the time. It wasn't my people booking them. It was someone in the town. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that wasn't that big a deal. I think I turned it down. Someone said he didn't even end up coming. But anyway, like a year or two later, me and D Money just cook up a few. He sent it to the dude who was working with Pump at the time at Lights Global, which is Pump's. It was like, I guess either like his promotion team or management team. Okay. I think they were boys. D Money is someone, so we sent like a 10-pack. Pump was looking for an Atlanta type beat, and they picked that one. It's crazy. I don't know if I'm supposed to actually say this or not, but they got Future on it. They got Future on the second verse, and then the engineer was like, "Damn," because of like the label, they cut it. They took it out.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
I heard it, and I actually have it. And I'm pretty sure it was because of like what they were talking about. Like Future just completely went with what Pump was doing, talking about Adderall, like. I do this, I do
you
that.
see like a Pump and Future on one track,
though,
bro.
like
especially on the Drug Addicts beat, bro. Like,
it was tough.
Went off.
So I remember I was in a session in Mid-City with my boy Nino. I was actually on shrooms at the time, so I'm tripping. And the dude sent, or D Money sent me a text. He was like, "Yo, what you doing right now?" I was like, "I'm in a session." He was like, "Chill" or something. He was like, "Step off." I was like, "Whatever." I was actually tripping at the time. I wasn't tweaking, but I was just like in a good zone, and we were recording someone like a session. I don't remember who it was, but my boy Nino, he had someone come, and I was just engineering. Mm-hmm. And D Money texted me. He was like, "Yo, like we got like he sent me. I forget how he told me. I think he texted me. He was like, "We got Future on the one with Pump, but they got Future on it." I was like, "Damn, that's crazy!"
Damn,
like,
bro.
I'm sitting there thinking like, "Yo, they got Pump and Future on the record."
I wonder how much bigger that song
probably would have been.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. Definitely would have been.
Because I mean, the song's like good by itself right now. Like it's still
funny.
A really good song.
It's like, and we, I definitely want to talk about that too. Like my viewpoints on the record and just
for sure
stuff like that. It's funny because it's like it's just that it really that's like a great example of like where the music industry is, and you can either look at it in a good sense, or you can look at the bad sides of it, right? And we tend to just look at like the benefits of it. You know, it's like, oh, it's, you know, it's playful, it's fun. But it's just funny. It makes me think every day. I'm like, damn, like, what a world we live in right now.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
with
I mean,
like what's
when
being
the title's
promoted.
Drug Addicts,
yeah,
like,
it's just
you
I
kind
couldn't
of open up
believe
the door for a whole bunch of like kids or people
so,
who are fans of Lil Pump to be like, oh, it's kind of cool to be like that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe, and like I'm sure there's people out there that think I was, and what probably actually got me in a lot of rooms was that people were like, oh, he was in the session and created that vibe for him. You know, obviously we made the beat and it was hard. We didn't tell him to rap none of that, or we didn't write any of it. You know, I'm put as a writer and stuff like that. But
so then
that never gave me controversy. But it's just, it's a little funny sometimes, as you can imagine, that it's like, all right, here's my first record. It's called Drug Addicts. Like, but really, have a way better musical taste than something like that. You know,
I mean,
so I don't know. It's
like,
been funny.
seeing as how like we're both into like weed and whatever else we end up doing, right? Like, so then how does it make you feel knowing that like the first record that really puts you on like a huge platform is all about
right?
drugs?
And that's the funny thing is, it's like it's bittersweet, right? Because I spent so many years thinking like, oh, I want to get a hot record, and you know, it's like I want to get something that's just going out, and still I'm not even. I might never be satisfied at this point, and definitely not with that one. But you know, I realized like, okay, that's cool, right? It came out, people see it, but it's not like a vibe that you could just live with for time going. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going back to I know I keep talking about J. Cole and many others, but I'll go back to their albums all the time. Pump, Drug Addicts, maybe. There's probably a handful of people who might pull that up when they're doing some drugs or at a party or something, but I'm sure there's always some happy things you can find out of something. But for me, that was definitely, like, it's just been realization after realization, you know, like, just learning about it and what came from that, and you know no regrets, but it's just definitely different and it's new. A lot of criticism on stuff like that, but fortunately it's more on Pump's side. You know, that's not, we didn't like craft this idea together and tell them, okay, we're gonna like do a video.
I just made the beat like a year and a half ago, bro.
Crazy. So I just the video, I was getting so much news back to back, it was funny. Like, I just couldn't believe it. So I heard, you know, Future got on it, and then it got on the album, and then it's gonna be the single, and then they told me Charlie Sheen's gonna be on the video. So I'm like, okay, they're filming the video next week. I'm like, damn, this is dope. Like, that shit's gonna go up. Yeah. You know, and it went up, but that's definitely one of those records that put me in the door. Gotta keep going. You know, definitely. I learned a shit ton after that. Like, it made me realize, like, wow, there's probably still a large amount of people who really have no idea what's going on in the music business. Because I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a whole bunch of people who don't know who the fuck you are, despite the fact that you can make a song that hits the Billboard charts.
Yeah, for sure, and of course, and that's you know, that's a blessing. I'm not in it to be like the biggest, you know, loudest producer. I mean, loudest, of course, as far as sound, but I mean, for the publicity and fame, I think that's cool. That was, you know, I think it could have been worse. You know, it could have. There's no lawsuits. There's nothing like that. You know, like, we're all. It's just
I think
whatever.
Really, like, I think really what it is, like, it goes back to your intent. Like, you didn't go in thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make a song that is totally about just taking drugs.
I mean, it's crazy though, because you really gotta think like, this is what is happening, and it could happen if you're in that genre of music. Like, for me, I'm always making club, turn shit. That's like all my homies and people I work with know me for, and that's why it's so nice to like branch out and do different genres when I get with like Dan Boy and shit like that. Like,
yeah, for sure.
We're always doing some crazy weird shit because I have a different taste and so does he. So when we like finally like meet each other somewhere, it's fire. And,
there's like a center point.
Yeah, so what I'm always doing when I'm alone is some like, you know what I mean, just fucking lit ass shit.
Think,
like, that's all I'm doing.
I think going back to your to the idea that like you just started collaborating a couple years ago, right?
Yeah,
like,
well,
when you end up like working with somebody like Lil Pump, you already have an idea of like, okay, this is what Lil Pump would sound like.
Yeah,
right?
and let me
but
say,
then when you work with somebody like Dan Boy, who's more so on like the reggae side, it kind of challenges you more as a producer.
And he can, you know, shout out to him because he can do like fucking anything. Yeah, he could play any instrument. He's crazy, but. I want to reiterate what I said about the not knowing how to collab thing. And the reason I said it that way was because you know, of course I knew what a collab was and how, but not how, but the thing was like, as far as working on a DAW and having, you know, D Money was on FL Studio. Some ways, you know, I'm thinking like, what's the best way we can like come together and make a record? Like, you know, this is new. Like, people actually have that question when they're making beats. You know, it's like, damn, how do I collab with these big people and actually have it be beautiful? You know, it makes sense. And so I realized, oh, I have to actually like give something up that's dope to someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually have to make, okay, this is dope. Let me pause, give it to someone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I get
so like,
you.
I was just always like, oh, this is hard. I'm gonna like finish it, and it might not have been that
Like
cool.
So you mean like co-producing at that point?
Yeah, like at the point I was just learning like, oh, this is like how you actually come to someone ready to collab. Like, hey, bro, I got, you know, something for you. Like, could we turn up on this? You know?
Yeah.
And I finally like, oh, I'm gonna make some loops, and I made like my own composed royalty-free loops. First, you know, I don't know how many. Again, it was like a pack of 10, but
yeah.
Anyway, like from there, I've been trying to just get my loop game up with all the different fucking plugins they got these days, right? Arcade, everything. Like, there's so many plugins out to make your own shit. It's crazy. Like,
yeah.
If you're giving up on making your own things, it's too late for that. You know,
bro,
like there's just too much shit
there's
out
so
here.
many things in the world you can really just like sample just to get like your own specific kits.
Well, I can to name a few. Splice, like shout out Splice, bro. Like that was game changing. I think there's a few people still don't even realize Splice is like game changing.
See, the only thing about Splice though, like I worked with this artist Brown Boy Maj, and then I also worked with this artist Maurice Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, listening to both their projects, which were put out at 2 different times throughout 2019, they both use the exact same guitar loop, and I'm just like, that's the problem that comes with it. It's just and it was so noticeable to the point where like I showed them both and they both laughed about it.
It happens, and I always think about that all the time, and that's why, and like most producers will say, you'll take a loop off of there and just tweak it in a way that you almost couldn't even tell from where it was, and you're only doing that to make it your own. You're not trying to deceive anybody, right? But I always think about that too. I'm like, damn, well, but that doesn't stop me, and it shouldn't stop any other producer from making something that they fuck with. You know, if it's like, oh, I've heard this before, or maybe like someone in another town has used it. Okay, you might get 10,000 more views, you know, or like if you're really fucking with your group of homies, and like this is the way you would wish you looked at it, right? You got like a group of people making music in your town. You hear this loop, this shit's dope. Okay, maybe like, okay, someone comes in and is like, oh, someone else used that loop. Like, okay, well, that's just a different story. Like, this is a whole different thing going on, you know? This might blow. Okay, maybe that person who used that loop only got like 50,000 plays. All right, but we're doing, like, we're really pushing the shit, and it's not copyrighted. No one's gonna, you know? So it's like royalty free. I think it's like, it's just crazy. And also, there's so many people making music right now. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. And that's a little daunting to think about sometimes, but it's just all about what you learn, and hard work over talent, right? So.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess how do you survive in an industry where it's basically flooded with artists and producers left and right? Because like what's stopping Lil Pump from getting another Baby Winsch?
Right.
You know.
And honestly, I was gonna say how to say this. Well, speaking on the whole, like, the amount of just people doing it right now, I figured out the way to survive is just, number one is have fun. And to keep it the way I've been keeping it, right? Everyone says that. Number one, have fun. And why people say keep God number one, and why people say, you know, keep God with you in the thoughts, is because you need to do good by you. Just everything is, you know, like once you start getting too much money and business thought involved, and just trying to get money out of everything,
you kind of lose yourself.
Yeah, and you know, I've been through it. I know people have been through it. But as far as like surviving in the industry, it's more of like you just gotta do your thing. There's not one way to get money. It's just like hustling. You know, it's just like owning a business. There's just it's not like I have a paycheck come in every week or every 2 weeks. You know, it's like we're just hustling and doing whatever we can do to get money. Job here, whatever. This project.
Session
stuff
tonight,
for Timbaland.
session the next morning.
Yeah, fortunately, you know, shout out my manager, Gary, dope guy. I met him through this artist he was working with out of Australia. She was in town, and I had linked with her through IG, but after I did some work with her, she showed it to Gary. Gary hit me up, he's managing Timbaland right now with Mono. Anyway,
Your manager Gary is also
Gary,
managing Timbaland.
yes.
Okay.
So he's actually managing like a few really dope people, like James Fauntleroy.
Oh shit.
I don't know if you know that he's a really dope writer.
Yeah. I
Some
mean,
other
shout out
guys.
to Dre. He's the one who really put me on James Fauntleroy.
Yeah. So they've been working for a while. But Gary's the man. Like he knows what he's doing with what's going on, and especially Timbaland's career. But anyway, we met because that artist, and he heard the records we did like that night, and he texted me. He was like, "Yo, let's meet up." And this was so new to me at the time, you know, because I'm like, oh, I've been waiting for like a manager for us to just kind of like come meet, like cross paths, you know, because I've never really had like a manager who's, because you know, at this day and age, like, what is a manager really doing?
I mean, you don't necessarily need a manager, other than like for the fact that if they can plug you into places
Yeah,
where you
like
wouldn't
if-
never be before.
Right, if y'all are cool and they're doing bigger shit and they can put you in rooms, and y'all are cool and there's a common understanding.
Yeah.
It's dope.
But I mean, for you to, you know, to have somebody like Gary who's currently managing like
Yeah.
Timbaland and James Fauntleroy,
It
like
makes
you're
sense.
already in like a really good like group.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming Gary's the one who also introduced you to Timbaland.
Yes, for sure. What was cool was I had the Pump, the snippet come out on his page.
Yeah.
And I was walking to the train, actually, at the time. I was in Pasadena, going to my boy's crib in Hollywood, Sangsta's house. Trent the hooligan. I'm going to talk about him, too. But I was just going to their house to visit them. I was always there, like either staying there or just chilling, making beats, smoking, doing our thing. And I'm on the train. Or no, I'm crossing the street, actually. My boy Cosmic, he's a camera guy. He texts, he's like, yo, did you see IG yet? He's like, bro, go look. And like, you know, I already known what was going on, but this was like really solidified it. They had Pump like posted him in the studio doing the song, like Drug Addicts. He was like, oh, in the studio. So I was like, damn, I heard my tag on it. I was like, all right, this shit's coming out, you know? So I'm on the train. And yeah, I forgot initially what we were going towards, but that was when I kind of knew that shit was going to come out for sure. But then meeting Gary, so we're talking about the Timbaland thing. Yeah, so Gary, we had met in his office like the next day or like 2 days after I met one of his writers or artists.
The one from Australia.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sexton. She's dope. She's still out here doing her thing. But anyway, I think Gary had like shot Timbaland a text of like what was going on. Like I think he sent him like my page because I reposted the Pump snippet, and Tim just responded. He was like, "Oh, I want to go in with him." And then Gary sent me a screenshot of that. So I was like,
That's
oh, shit.
crazy.
Like, so Timbo wants to go in. I think I was with my girl at the time. And we were just like, damn, like, this is dope, you know? And it was really crazy to me, and I'm always remember this because what's funny, and I'll admit this, is when I'm making music the past few years, I wasn't, like, sitting there and studying the Timbaland records. But when I was a kid, I'm glad we're going back to this because I forgot to bring it up. Timbaland records, like, had a huge influence on so many of us. And we don't even remember.
Bro.
Some don't remember. Like, for example, like my favorites was, you know, of course, the Justin Timberlake ones.
Dude.
Carrie Hilson, right?
Like, I'll still play all the Justin Timberlake shit. Also, he had, who was it, Nelly Furtado?
Yeah,
he had Promiscuous Girl and all
those
that
records
shit,
were
bro.
so dope.
Like, those were so good.
So as a, you know, again, I'm like curious what the hell are these sounds and like who's doing this shit, and so it was just surreal to actually meet him and have that same respect. You know, it was just really dope. And
so
I told him.
what was that? Oh, go ahead.
I told him, I'll tell you how it happened too. I'm trying to break it down step by step, but either way, Gary always showed love. He was helping me out tremendously. Just either like if I needed it, like I think one time my laptop broke like right before a session that he had set up with Republic. So bro, I had to, you know, we ran and got one real quick. You know, but it's just, you know, like he's just really he was really showing love and believed in me from the jump. But anyway, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, how I actually met
Gary
Timbaland,
laptop.
right?
Yeah.
So I was in Detroit with Sexton, the Australian girl. We went to Detroit for a week because she was grinding and she had a lot of influence in Detroit. So she's like, yo, and this is when we're still like just working. You know, we had just got up, and she's like, let's go to Detroit for like a week. She paid for the flight, paid for the Airbnb, and we're just networking. DJs, a bunch of dope shit in Detroit. It was dope. It was. They showed so much love, and like I ended up getting a chain. I forgot to bring it.
You should have wore the chain,
yeah, it's
bro.
Like, it's like a Detroit. It's cool. It's like, but I just don't wear it too much because it's like a. I'm not. People ask me all the time, like, "Are you over Detroit?" Like, I think someone even.
Oh,
like,
some people think you're from Detroit at that point.
Oh, he's from Detroit. I'm like, nah, but it was definitely dope. I made a lot of cool friends there, and like
Yeah.
got some. Me and Sexton did a dope record with one of their big artists,
So then you're chilling with Sexton.
Snapdog, and then I don't know if we got the flight back, but I was talking to Gary, and then he was like, "Yo, Timbaland's at the." It was a show in New York. It was the really big show. I think it was Summer Jam. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Yeah.
Summer Jam, New York. And Gary was like, "Yo, I'll get you up there." You know, they gave me like an itinerary, so I went up to New York and met Timbaland backstage at his bus. So he had like they gave all the big artists like buses to because it was like a football stadium. And what's dope is he was doing like Tim versus Swiss Beats, like the beat battle in front of the whole crowd. So they were just playing all their old songs, and they were like, "Oh, I got one." You know, it was dope. So there was like 100 people behind stage just from all the people working, I guess. So I got to kind of see that from backstage. But before he went on, Gary took me to the bus. And, we shook hands and met, and I immediately was just like, dude, it was all hitting me. Like at this time, I was like, damn, this dude really like shaped like my ear for the shit, like my older, middle school years.
He's
and
such a
like
staple
that.
in music, bro.
Yeah, so like when I saw him, I was just like, damn, like now it's hitting me. I was like, oh yeah, bro, like this crazy meet you right now. You really, shaped my ear for a good amount of shit, and it's just, pleasure to meet you. But I can't wait to work type shit.
So what was that first session like?
I had a few, so I'm trying to imagine like which was the first one exactly.
Oh, so you've been crazy. In the studio with him multiple times.
Yeah, a few times. I'm just trying to remember exactly how that first one was. It's crazy. I can't even because I just remember like a few.
Well, what's the session that sticks out the most?
There's 2 or 3 that definitely stick out. So I don't think this is not the first one, but it's definitely like the first of the few. The first few. He was working with a group named New City at the time. Still working with him, I think. This guy named Mitch and like 2 other guys. They're great guys. They were doing pop, hard music at the same time, but it was it's Timbaland style stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at I'm trying to think of the studio, Nick Conway Recording Studios, which is in off Melrose. Fucking dope studio. I love that place. But anyway, New City was in one room. Timbaland was working with Nick Jonas in the other room, I think. So it was Nick. I think I want to say Nick Jonas or Joe Jonas. It was like one of them. Anyway,
one of the Jonas brothers.
Yeah, so it was this is dope. So they kind of like, put me in charge of the New City session for a little while. And we did like 2 or 3 ideas. Timbaland was coming in and out, just hearing them. And then it was either that same week or maybe like 2 months later. It's so funny. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was the same studio. And he had Smoke Perp come in. So it was me, Tim, 2 other guys, Angel Fetty, is like his main guys, and shout out to them, super helpful guys. But anyway, so Smoke Perp came for a few hours. Then 24 Hours came. You know who 24 Hours is? Yeah. Like dope R&B type pop dude. It's really dope. So we did this thing with Perp, and that was funny because it wasn't exactly what I expected. It was cool though. Like what happened was Perp, they were just talking, right? Perp and Tim. And Perp was showing him his album, and then Timbaland had jumped on one of the songs and like was just doing this really dope shit with his mouth, and they turned it into like this really dope sounding part of the song. We were like, oh my gosh, sounds weird, like, and I think we did a few ideas, and then after he left, I think like Perp went to go get like a haircut or something, and then he just left for a few hours, and yeah, so Timbaland was like this, and he's like, y'all know 24 Hours? And like I think no one else did, like, or Fetty and Angel. I think they did.
That's hella funny.
Yeah, but I was just like, I fuck with bro. Like I definitely know what he's doing. And he had come in, I dapped him up. I told him what I was doing. Like, I did the drug addicts. Well, he's like, oh, dope. Him and Tim talked for like an hour, and then Fetty was cooking some type of pad. After like an hour, 24 was like, oh, let's do something like this BPM or whatever. And then Fetty was playing this really cool like arpeggiated pad. Yeah. Which is like a pad is like an atmospheric type of like lead type of thing, but it was like kind of bubbling. So it was like like he played this pad, and then how it's set up is we're able to all produce at the same time so that the engineer can edit it on Pro Tools. So it's like we're all an instrument.
That's
you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So we're all kind of like we can if you're
it's
just
kind of like
it,
it's kind of like a little orchestra happening.
Yeah, and the room's big enough that we can all be set up like that. So, and again, shout out to them, the Team Timbo, they call it, because they brought me in and showed me all this really dope shit. So shout out to them. But
what's the biggest piece of advice that you got from Timbaland?
The biggest piece.
Or the most helpful.
I want to say, definitely like the feel and the groove aspect of it, because I feel like it's so easy to lose that feeling of like when you're, especially with me, when I'm kind of just programming shit in. He reminded me that like you really gotta like feel that shit and like feel the groove and the bounce, and it has to just feel right, you know.
Yeah.
And nothing less, you know. I kind of figured. I mean, I didn't figure it out, but just it was like a big reminder when I was in those sessions, like, and because you know he's doing Ableton on the push pad, so he's really like putting in these different bounces, you know, and like, you know, we're kind of punching shit in, and he can see that. And that's something I learned from him was, you know, you gotta have that groove, that feeling in music if you want it to be like a big hit, you know. And yeah, and he also always was talking about. One time he preached for a while about, I think about that actually, like just how it's so easy now for producers to just make shit on, you know, the computers. And he was even talking about how he had to like kind of relearn how to do it, because he was doing tapes, you know, sampling old stuff, how he was doing it, and he kind of had to like relearn how to do everything with the new age shit. Yeah, and like so he still has that feeling in it, you know, which is like, and again with the sessions, like we were all on instruments kind of, so anything I hit was being recorded, you know. So we would do like, we'd be doing a beat, a song, and then like 10 minutes later, because we're just talking, like then something else would come up, and then the engineer would have to like clip that, you know, and then like, so it was really cool. It was actually dope. Shout out to the engineer. Hella cool.
It just sounds like the same way Anderson .Paak records, because they kind of just like go in the booth and then just like vibe off of each other, but it's kind of different because I guess the way he's recording is you really have like a drummer, guitarist, everything. So like in your situation, it's like there's so many people on different like MIDI keyboards.
We're
and
all plugged up.
Yeah.
We're all plugged up to the main Pro Tools.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, we can be, if I get a text, it's being recorded on Pro Tools. Bing, you know, and they can take that. Yeah, like our little, like even the computer turning on will make a waveform, you know. Yeah. So that's just how a lot of the cool shit came together, and why it continues to flow like that is like, say, imagine, you know, I'm giving out some keys here, but like imagine someone's doing like a melody. This is like how that 24 hours thing came together. Melody plays. You record it, right? You tell engineer, yo, record this. They record it, they loop it. All right, now it's looped for everybody. You know what I mean? So now I'm hitting some snares and claps. I come up with a cool rhythm, and I'm like, oh, wait, can you, like, clip that little 8-bar I just did there? Boom. Now the engineer quantizes it. And then, yeah. So I'd be doing, like, hi-hat rolls, like, you know, and then Timbaland would hit the clap. And that's kind of like how we were collabing for those few days, you know?
Have any of those songs been released?
No, 24 hours. Again, I don't even know. I think it's cool to talk about. They just did, you know, they got ideas with everybody. So I don't want to say it's coming out, right? But we did an idea with 24 hours. I fucked with it. It was cool.
Hey man, I don't know if you can copyright ideas, so I think
you're right.
You're
good. Cool. We did an idea. This was dope because Gary hit me up like kind of not last minute, but like right before about it. He's like, yo, we got this K-pop group that's gonna be in LA. It was Monster X.
Really?
Monster X. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah, so, oh, shit.
Yeah,
so
so
you're
they came
for
in.
Monster X.
Yeah, we got one with them and Pitbull. They should be coming out soon. I don't know when,
bro.
Pitbull.
See, I was over here going to ask you, like, oh, what's coming up? And then that's pretty big, bro.
Yeah,
like,
it feels big, right? But it's like, it's cool. Again, it's just to be, it's like,
that's what she
dope,
said.
right? But even but see, even Gary was like, oh, it's you know, it's dope, it's cool. But it's like, you know, we're trying to get the big, you know, A plus artists. Like, at least that's what they're shooting for, you know. But that was definitely like, it was great for me. The shit, I was like, man, Pitbull's got some bangers from when we were younger, you know.
Well,
so it's just cool.
Pitbull could drop a song and then it's gonna get like, you know, it's gonna catch fire instantly. I don't think people really recognize that about Pitbull.
Right, and so we did that the same way. Kind of, it was Fetty did the melody. I started the drums. Angel kind of crisped them up a little bit. He's dope with that. So started the bounce, and then dope writer, this guy named Nash. He had a really dope record that was a hit like a few years ago, but he's a really good writer now. He does he does country, pop, stuff like that. But they brought him in.
Oh, Nash, Gnas.
Nash Overstreet, his name is. Dope guy.
Never mind.
Nash, he's dope though. But he came in and we did quick like 3 ideas for K-pop. And what's cool is we met the guy, the owner of the group, or I guess like the manager. And it's a group of like 8 or 10 guys. It's really funny. Like, it's like 8 Korean, really nice guys. They're like really cool looking, perfect skin, like perfect hair, like just really cool.
Looking hella young.
Yeah, they weren't like assholes or nothing. They were really cool. And what was actually cool to me, and this was like just a really beautiful moment. You know, I had like a really cool photographer with me. Her name's Karen, and I brought her in, and you know, we got the other guys set up. But when the Korean guys came in, they had like a spokesperson for them.
The liaison between like, the Korean languages and English.
Her name's CJ. I was trying to remember her name. She's dope, and we still keep in touch. She visited not long ago, but she's in South Korea, and so are they, right? But I can't remember exactly why she was there, but she was definitely like talking to me. 'Cause she was English, right, and the rest were Korean. And they kept saying Lil Pump. They're like, oh, he does like Lil Pump, or like he did Lil Pump, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's like out of, you know, everybody, they're like trying to get close to me, and they were all sitting near me, and it was just really cool. I was like, man, like this is like what we're trying to do. You know, and they were, it was just cool, you know, because they were seeing what I was doing with the beat, and because I was asking them like, what do you use? I think one of them used like Cubase or something like. Yeah, so they're on some other cool shit over there. But
it's really cool because.
And then I found out about Pitbull getting on it like months later. I had no idea because I didn't even know they were gonna take the song. You know, they like redid their thing on it. You know, they sauced it up back in Korea, and then Gary, my manager, showed me the bounce, and he was like, "Oh, they got Pitbull on it," and I was like, "Oh."
That's fucking
dope.
crazy, bro. Well, I can't wait to hear that record,
Yeah.
man. And not for the sake that Pitbull and Monster X are on it, but I want to see what your production does,
Thanks.
bro.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Baby
Appreciate
Winsch, man.
Yeah.
Yo, you just have a whole bunch of experience underneath your belt, like within like what, maybe a 2-3 year span or something like that, bro.
I mean, like being serious about it, probably, I can't really put a number on it, but probably like through 2-3 years,
Yeah,
like
man.
really like putting my all into it. But
Well, I know for a fact Dan Boy keeps good company within his circle, man.
dope guy.
You're currently part of the Lunch Table family now, bro.
Dope. I'm glad.
Baby Winsch, where can everybody find you?
Twitter and Instagram right now, just Baby Winsch, BabyWinsch.
Yay.
Baby Winsch.
This is the Lunch Table, food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz, Baby Winsch, and we are out, everybody.
Peace.